All right, let's be honest here for a little bit. Today, I want to talk about 8 things with you. Health inspections are one of the most stressful parts of running any restaurant. The inspector walks in usually unannounced, clipboard in hand or iPad with today's technology, and suddenly every little detail matters. And now here's the thing. Restaurants don't usually fail because of one tiny mistake. They fail because of patterns and blind spots and systems that have been broken down over time, and it all comes to surface when that health department walks in. So today I'm going to break down the real reasons restaurants fail inspections, and I'll share some personal stories from my years as a chef in the kitchen, and more importantly, I'll give you, the manager's perspective on how to prevent these failures before they even happen. So let's dive into it. Number 1, lack of management oversight. You can always tell when a manager is disengaged. I worked at a place where the manager spent most of his time in the office, and he wasn't checking temps. He wasn't walking the line. He wasn't even coaching his team. And when the inspector showed up, the kitchen was already a mess, and nobody knew where the sanitizer buckets were. Food wasn't labeled as it should have been, and there were dishes piled up in the 3-compartment sink. And guess what? That operation failed that day because of lack of management oversight. This happens because when managers aren't present, standards slide. Employees don't cut corners when they know the boss is watching. So here's a manager's fix. You got to be visible. Walk in your operation every single day. You have to have an inspector's eye. When I walk into accounts today, even as a sales rep or a food broker, whichever task I'm assigned to doing for that day, and I go into an account, you can bet on it and believe it or not that I am paying attention to every little thing that happens within an operation. Why? Hey, I teach this information, so it's pretty important that I pay attention to the standards, but it also helps me create more additional content to teach my audience here so that you guys know what not to do in an operation. You got to ask questions. You got to check your logs. You got to look at hand-washing habits with your employees. The culture of your restaurant is set by what you pay attention to. And if you're a manager and you're not paying attention to much, well, maybe you shouldn't be a manager. Number 2, inconsistent training and high turnover. Yeah, the restaurant industry and the hospitality industry, however you want to label it, has a very big high turnover rate. I once had a brand new dishwasher who thought sanitizer buckets were for soaking utensils. He'd never been trained. Was it his fault? Not at all. But when the inspector saw dirty cloths sitting in plain water, that was an automatic violation. And restaurants fail because they assume new hires just will figure it out on their own. And in food safety, assumptions lead to failures. Failures lead to customers getting sick. So here's my manager's fix. You got to build a real training system. Start with your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, and every new employee, no matter the role, they should get a Serve Safe Basics. That's why we offer the 6th edition playlist on food service education, because it's a basic understanding of hand washing and glove use and sanitizer and time and temperature. But more importantly, it gets them engaged. You got to get them to use checklists. You got to do refreshers. It's not just a one and done and all. Right? We have to make sure we're reinforcing this information over and over and over because people forget. Don't just hope they know it. You got to show them. The number 3 reason, shortcut culture. This is a big one in today's society, right? In the middle of a dinner rush, I once saw a cook handling raw chicken. He wiped his hands on his apron, and then he grabbed a handful of shredded cheese for a pizza. He wasn't lazy. He was busy. But shortcuts like this are exactly why restaurants fail inspections. And when speed becomes more important than safety, your operation becomes at greater risk. So here's a manager's fix. Inspectors don't care if you're busy. They care if you're practicing safe practices. If you're putting prevention measures in place to prevent a foodborne illness that will get your customers sick. They have the customer's point of view in hindsight. They care about the customer. And if you're doing something inappropriately or causing something to happen within your operation that gets the customer sick, well, you're going to be cited for it. Health inspectors care of one thing. They care if you are safe. And as a manager, you need to reinforce. Way too many managers teach it once and then forget to teach it again. We never trade speed for safety. We got to step in during service when you see a bad habit, and we need to correct it on the spot immediately so that shortcuts don't become part of your company's or operation culture. Number 4, failure to keep records. I've watched managers tell inspectors, oh, we cool everything correctly. We just don't write it down. That's like telling your teacher, I studied, but I didn't take notes. It doesn't count. If it wasn't written down on purpose, it never happened, right? That's the old saying. And restaurants fail because they don't keep the paperwork that proves they're following the rules. Cooling logs, temps checks, cleaning schedules. If they don't exist, the inspector assumes it never happened. So as a manager, we got to make sure that we documentate everything for protection. We got to require staff to do log temps. And then we need to take the time to review those logs at the end of your shift. Post a master cleaning schedule. Make people initial it. And if it's not written down, it didn't happen. Number 5, poor facility maintenance. I once stepped into a restaurant where the tiles were cracked and grease was dripping from the hoods, and there was standing water by the dish area. The inspector didn't even have to look at the food. The building itself was enough to fail the operation. And when you let your facility slip, it screams, I neglect not just this part of my operation, I neglect probably the majority of my operation, right? First impressions are everything. And inspectors know that if the walls and the floors aren't clean, the food probably isn't either. So here's your manager's fix. We got to make facility checks part of the daily routine. We got to seal the cracks. We got to clean the vents. We got to keep the floors dry, and we got to repair broken equipment. Work with pest control and maintenance teams on a regular basis and clean your facility. It's not just cosmetic. It's all about safety. It's all about prevention measures in place first to prevent things from happening later down the road. Hey, if you're getting value out of this content in this new playlist, hit that like button. Consider becoming a supporter, a fan, a subscriber. And if you want to dive deeper into food safety, we have an entire course dedicated to that, all private members access. You just go to the homepage, click the join button to learn more information about our memberships. Number 6, failure to prepare for inspections. One of the biggest red flags I see is panic when the inspector arrives. Suddenly, all of a sudden, staff are scrambling to fill sanitizer buckets. Temp logs are being backfilled. The gloves are being thrown on like costumes. That panic tells the inspector everything they need to know. This operation isn't always inspection ready. Restaurants fail because they treat inspections like one-day events instead of everyday expectations. I mean, how many times have you ever walked into a fast food giant just to see that everything seems off? Right? The worker grabs the gloves without washing their hands. The person sneezes or they touch dirty money and then they put on a glove without washing their hands. I mean, I could sit there and tell you everything that I have learned and seen over the years with my own eyes. But the truth is the truth. Most operations are not following the expectation. So here is the manager's fix. The best operations run mock inspections on a weekly basis. You see, as a manager, you got to train your staff to assume the inspector could walk in at any day, anytime. And if your kitchen is inspection ready all the time, then guess what? You have nothing to worry about. Number 7, there's a big breakdown in communication. I've seen deliveries left sitting in hallways for hours because no one knew who was supposed to actually temp check them. Prep cooks thought the manager was handling it. The manager thought the dishwasher was handling it. And guess what? Nobody did it. And that's a failure. And restaurants fail because responsibilities aren't clearly assigned. Food safety falls through the cracks when everyone assumes someone else is doing it. So as a manager, we got to fix this. We have to assign clear roles. Who checks the deliveries? Who fills out the logs? Who checks holding temperatures? Put it in writing, post it, and then you got to hold your staff accountable. And lastly, number 8, one of the most dangerous attitudes I've ever heard from a manager was this: don't worry, our inspector never checks the coolers. We call that overconfidence and underestimating the inspector. The next week they did and found food way out of temp. The restaurant barely scraped by. Restaurants fail when they underestimate inspectors. These people are trained professionals. They know the tricks, they know the shortcuts, and they know exactly where to look. Managers fix. Pay attention to this. Respect the inspection process. Assume they'll check everything every time. Don't cut corners just because you think they won't notice. So why do restaurants really fail health inspections? It's not just dirty cutting boards or lukewarm food. It's leadership, culture, and systems. Leadership, culture, and systems. And when your manager doesn't enforce the basics, when training is sloppy, when staff take shortcuts, when nobody keeps records, that's when a restaurant fails. But here's the good news. Every single one of these reasons is preventable. If we build within our standard operating procedures, systems, and we hold our team accountable and we lead by example, starting with the leader, you'll pass inspections with confidence. If this breakdown gave you value, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you're serious about mastering ServSafe and learning how to lead safe operations, go to the homepage, click the join button, and find out more about memberships. You'll get practice exams, study guide, and chef-tested lectures that you won't find anywhere else. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you for watching. If our channel or videos have been valuable to you in your journey, whether for passing your manager industry certification exam or providing encouragement along the way, we'd love to hear directly from you. Please feel free to share your story with us at fsc.instructor@gmail.com. If you found value in this content, please hit that like button. Only a small percentage of our subscribers have enabled all notifications, which helps you stay informed about new content, updates, and changes to our channel. Consider turning this on so you never miss the latest insights. Interestingly, 79% of our views come from viewers who are not yet subscribed. You can help grow our community and support more learners by subscribing today. For those looking for additional resources, we offer a complete study and review guide, organized chapter by chapter to enhance your learning alongside these videos. All Pro Safety Manager members can access this guide on our community tab.